What is better, the debt snowball or the debt avalanche? Stay tuned till the end, and we're going to talk about each method, and we're going to talk specifically about which one I think is the best based on the average balances for Americans right now. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Dave, and I'm here to help you win with money so you can build your wealth. In a recent Instagram poll, my followers said that the number one goal for them in the coming year is to become debt-free. In this video, I'm going to present to you the top 2 methods for paying off your debt. And guys, before we get into the video, if you would do me a quick favor, go ahead, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and let's get into the content. So before we get into talking about the 2 methods of paying off your debt, we want to first talk about a few things that you need to know and get right before you start paying off your debt to make sure that you're protected and ready to go on this journey and to actually set yourself up for success, to be able to do this without taking too many uncalled for risks. So number 1, make a list. You're going to want to go ahead and make a list that shows all of your debt, including the name of the lender, the balance of the debt, the interest rate of the debt, and go ahead and list that out. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, or if you're looking for an actual guide, I actually have a plan called the Debt Free Playbook that I will link in the description that will walk you through this whole process end to end to make sure that you do this successfully. But you're going to want to make sure that you make that list before you get started. Go ahead again, list all your debts out. That way you know what you're working with. And if you're not sure, the best way to figure out what they are is to pull your credit report. And the best way to do that is to go on to creditkarma.com and pull yourself off a free copy of your report. Now, they will also offer you free monitoring, which is a great thing to do to monitor your credit. And you'll be able to look at your balances for all your different lenders on that. Now, if you can't get all the information that you need there, you can always pull your account statements, which will show the name of the lender, it will show the interest rate, and it will also show your most recent balance. You're going to want to sort the list. Now, depending on whether you're using the Debt Snowball or the Debt Avalanche, you will sort your list differently based on which method you choose. So it's important to continue to pay the minimum payments on all outstanding debt while you go through this process. So keep that in the back of your mind. You don't want to start missing payments and having collection actions and things being taken against you while you're going through this process. So make your minimum payments on all of your debt as you go through this process. Go ahead and create your emergency fund. That way, as you're going through this, if any emergencies come up, you will not get completely blindsided. You will be prepared, and therefore you will be more resilient and able to bounce back as you go through this journey, because life happens. So I recommend going ahead at the beginning and setting aside 1 month worth of expenses in a high yield savings account, which will earn you a little bit of interest while your money is sitting there in the event of an emergency. When it comes down to actually paying off your debt, the process altogether looks like this. Number 1, make a list of your debt. Number 2, sort that list. Number 3, come up with your emergency fund. Get it in a high yield savings account. That way you're prepared in case any emergencies come up while you're paying off your debt. Number 4, pay the minimum payments on all of your debt as you go through this process. So once your minimum payments are all covered and your emergency fund is tucked away, now you're going to take any extra savings and you're going to apply it all based on the method that you choose. The Debt Snowball is exactly how it sounds. It starts small, meaning you start off by paying off your smallest balances first, and then you move to your bigger balances. And so like a snowball rolls down a hill, the snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, tackling bigger debts as you go along and picking up momentum along the way until it reaches the bottom and all of the debt is gone. A lot of the advocates for the debt snowball approach will say that it is the ideal approach because you're starting off with a smaller balance. Therefore, it is easier to get started when the balance is small, as opposed to tackling your largest balance. You would be doing that for a long time and it would be easy to get discouraged. So the downside to the debt snowball is that you're not arranging your debt in a way that accounts for the interest rate. Therefore, by not paying off the highest interest rate balances first, what ends up happening is you end up taking longer to pay it off because you're paying more money overall in interest because you're not tackling those higher interest rates first. So that is the downside to the debt snowball, which brings us into the debt avalanche. The debt avalanche is the opposite. So instead of the balance being the driver of what you pay off first, the debt avalanche uses the interest rate. So if you want to use the debt avalanche, then what you do is you take the highest interest rate debt first and you pay that off irrespective of the balance. Then you move to the next highest debt and then you flow through in succession based on the interest rate until all of the debt is paid off. Critics will say that the debt avalanche is harder to start, and I'm going to show you some data here in a little bit that will actually show that that is a contradiction based on the average American. So the debt avalanche, because it's based on interest rate, the real benefit of it is that you're going to pay off your debt typically faster because you're tackling it based on the interest rate, which means that you're knocking down your highest interest rate balances first. And by doing that, you are cutting down the overall amount of interest that you pay on the debts as you flow through on your mission to become debt free. So that breaks down the key differences between the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. So again, keep in mind the debt snowball looks at the balance and has you start off with your smallest balance to largest balance, paying off all of your debts in that order. The debt avalanche looks at the interest rate and then you pay off your debts in order of highest interest rate to lowest interest rate until all of your debts are wiped out. The king of finance, Dave Ramsey, is a huge fan of the debt snowball. For me, I believe that both of these can work. They are both good methods to pay off your debt. But in my mind, as a financial coach, as someone who's helped thousands of people with money, as an ex-banker, as an investor, for me, the debt avalanche is the best approach. And I'm going to show you exactly why I believe it is the best approach. Dave Ramsey and many of the advocates of the debt snowball will say things like, you should start with the debt snowball because you're starting with the smallest balance. But if you look at this chart, you will see that the average American, by starting with the smallest balance, which is usually credit card debt for most Americans, they are usually going to be doing the debt avalanche naturally, because if you look at this, you will see literally in order that the interest rate and the balances match here. Now you may be saying, well, Dave is saying to pay off the debt with the lowest balance, meaning not the category but the actual credit card. That is absolutely true, but again, here's the thing. When you look at this from a category perspective, it's a non-issue. It's not a valid statement. So to me, I'm going to choose the one that allows me to pay the least amount of money and also allows me to do this the fastest so I can get the heck out under the thumb of lenders. If you look at this chart again, you will see here that most Americans, by choosing the debt avalanche or the debt snowball, are going to very likely end up paying in the same category of debt. My vote is for the debt avalanche, and again, reason being the whole talk about the balance stuff. To me, when you look at the average balances, they're going to be paying off the same stuff in very close order anyway. So the idea that you can get a head start by going with the debt snowball, I just don't really believe it. 90% of becoming debt free is discipline anyway. Only 10% of it is head knowledge. So, you know, again, discipline is the name of the game when it comes down to paying off debt. If you're going to be successful at doing it, you're going to have to make a commitment. You're going to have to stick it out through the long haul. You're going to have to live frugally. You're going to have to get on a budget. You're going to have to work hard to make this happen. So for me, why work harder? Use the Debt Avalanche, the method that is going to allow you to pay it off as quickly as possible and as inexpensively as possible. And to me, you would have the best shot at success. Grab your free copy of my financial plan that allowed me to tackle $100,000 worth of debt. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description below. If you haven't already, feel free to add me on Instagram. My posts are pretty much daily. And if you like this video, go ahead, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and check out the recommended video that's coming up next. This will show you how to get on a budget to go ahead and turbocharge your debt-free journey. Guys, thanks so much for all the love and support. I really appreciate you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the next one.